Villarreal are a staple in Spanish football, getting pretty good finishes in the last 4 years in the league. But we're not focusing on them, we're focusing on the reserve team who finished 18th in La Liga Smart Bank last season. But today that's going to change as I'm taking over Villarreal B, and by the end of this video, not only will they be better than Villarreal, they'll be the best team in the world. So this is the starting 11 I've loaded into, and honestly there's more to this team than meets the eye. Because it's the reserve team for Villarreal, they have got a ridiculously young squad. And on top of that, they've only got one player on loan to them, which is always a nice feeling as a new manager. And on top of that, they've got some really good talent like Firmino, Sergio Lozano, and Haissem Hassan. So whilst in real life they haven't performed that well, this team is cracked on this game. But to be honest, I don't really want to use the 4-4-2 with this team. I think this really underutilizes the talent in this squad. Instead, I'm going to use the 4-3-3 flat. We've got no central attacking midfielders or holding midfielders, so this is literally spot on for Villarreal B. And with this being a more attacking formation, I think this will get the best out of our best players. But after switching the formation, I straight away know where I need to improve the team. We need a better midfielder than Ortega. We can't be having a 57 overall midfielder in the squad. But here comes the bad news. We've only got €2 million to spend this season. So at best, we're only going to get one really good signing. And truth be told, I think I found the perfect midfielder, Alberto Moreno from Atletico Madrid. He's only 63 overall, granted, but he's only 20 years old as well, so that means he's got a lot of time to improve. And he is officially our first signing as Villarreal B manager, only costing €800,000. And after that signing and sorting everybody's contracts out, we've only got €809,000 left to spend. Now, to be honest, we could probably make one more signing, but that's not what I want to do for the rest of this transfer window. We have a ridiculous amount of youngsters with a lot of talent that's just not going to get used this year, so I'm going to send a load of them out on loan. So I sent Hugo Perez to FC Sion for 2 years on loan, Carlos Romero for 2 years at Norwich on loan, Thiago Jose Grelnit to Lanos for 2 years on loan, and Villarreal B's new signing Fabio Blanco to Konyaspor for 2 years on loan as well. And with that, our transfer window's done, which means this is the starting 11 going into season 1. Now, I'll be real, there's only one thing I'm expecting from this team this year, and that is overall growth. I don't want us to get promoted yet. I don't mind us having a good cup run, but the one thing I'm more concerned with is this team improving massive amounts this year. Because I'm not stupid, I know for a fact we're not going to be competing for anything in season 1. All we need to do is lay the foundations for success for either season 3 or season 4. And if these guys can massively improve by the end of this season, we'll definitely be on track to doing that. And we have indeed arrived at the end of our first season, and we've done pretty well. We're 17th in the league after 42 games. Now, considering we've only brought one player into the team, I'd say that's a pretty big W. And we actually made it to the round of 16 in the Copa de España, only getting knocked out by Eibar. We've definitely had a pretty good season. And just look at this squad, man. The improvement in this team has been insane. 72 overall De La Fuente, 74 overall Lozano, 75 overall Nino, and of course 75 overall Hassan. This is the exact reason I didn't want to spend much money on players, because we've already got the talent in the team. We just need to give them time to improve. And in fairness, these stats aren't that bad. 16 and 13 for Lozano, 11 and 2 for our centre midfielder Del Moral, and 10 and 1 for Firmino. This team this year has done exactly what I wanted them to do, improve over the course of this year. This means in season 3, or maybe even next year to be fair, we could potentially push for a playoff position. But that does all depend on two things. The first one, whether this team can continue to grow as they are, and secondly, we do need a little bit more money than just 2 goddamn million. But before we go any further, if you're enjoying the video so far, leave it a big old thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We're now heading into our second year in charge of Villarreal B after a pretty successful first season. And as you can see, the team has massively improved since last year, but we do need to work on a couple of areas of the pitch. We need a better right back in the place of Ruiz, because the last right back we had has gone back to their former club. And on top of that, we could do with a better centre back than Inigas as well. Once we sorted those positions out, if we have enough money left over, we'll revisit the team and see where we can further improve it. And boys, our budget has actually quadrupled since last year. €8 million to spend in season 2. Now that I didn't expect. And we are spending a big portion of our budget on our first signing, Jose Carmona from Sevilla. He's 21 years old but already 72 overall. He'll be a massive addition to that defensive lineup. And he is by a country mile the most expensive signing yet, as we've just spent €4.5 million to bring him to Villarreal B on a 4-year deal. And for this next signing, I'm bringing a little experience to this very young squad. Dani Calvo from Real Oviedo. He's 29 29 years old and 72 overall. And because he only had 12 months left on his contract, we only had to spend 1.6 million euros to bring him to Villarreal B. But once again, I don't really want to spend any more money. I've done the transfers I want, now I want to loan some players out again. And that's exactly what I did, starting by sending Diego Collado to PSV for 2 years, Liberman Torres to SJ Earthquakes for 1 year, Abraham to Cremonese for 1 year, and Jorge Pascal to FC Vizela for 2 years. And with that, our transfer window's done, leaving the team looking like this going into Season 2. And granted, we don't have much squad depth, but that's because a lot of those players are currently out on loan, so once they come back, not only will we have squad depth, we'll have really good squad depth as well. And to be honest, I'm not too fussed about it quite yet, because I know we're not going to be pushing for promotion this year. We'll certainly do better this year than we did in Season 1, but at best we'll probably get a top 10 finish. But hey, I've been wrong before, who knows what we're going to accomplish. Boys, we've just arrived in June, and guess what? I was very wrong. We're 4th in the league at the end of this season in the playoffs alongside UD, Almeria, Levante, UD and Elche. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is amazing, but this team is not ready for promotion just yet. But we did only make it to the semi-finals as Levante beat us 4-3 on aggregate. Don't get me wrong, I'm buzzing we made the playoffs, but I'm so goddamn relieved we're not promoted just yet. Having said that though, looking at this team, we may properly be ready to push for promotion next year. And the stats are even better this year with 20-3 for Lozano, 14-3 for Firmino, and 13-2 for Haissem Hassan. And obviously you guys know I sent a load of players out on loan and they are improving. Just check out some of the improvement on these players. Now there is one thing I've learned from this team this year, and this in Season 3 we are definitely ready to push for promotion. But in order for that to happen, this team as it is needs to keep improving as it is, and also we do need a little bit more money to bring in that quality we need. We are now heading into Season 3 in charge of Villarreal, and I think we are finally ready to push for promotion. But in order to do that, we need to improve 2 areas of our team. We need a better midfielder than Moreno. I know he's only 22 and 70 overall, but if we are serious about promotion, we need better quality in that midfield. And on top of that, we need a better centre-back than Calvo. Whilst he's got the experience that we need, he hasn't got the quality we need in that defensive lineup. I'm telling you, once we sort those positions out, we are a serious contender for promotion this year. And this board has genuinely got faith in my abilities. 18 million to spend in Season 3. Considering we're a 2nd division team right now, that budget is actually ridiculous. And starting with the centre-back, I'm going for Daniel Amate from Real Madrid. He's 29 years old, 75 overall. He's not amazing, but he's definitely what we need to get promotion. And for only 4.5 million, we have signed Daniel Amate on a 3-year deal. And moving on to our midfield, I'm going for Croatian Marko Bulak from CD Leganes. He's 22 years old, 74 overall. He's still young and he's still got a lot of time to improve as well. Now we have ran into a little bit of a problem. Bulak's team won't directly sell him to us, but we can activate his release clause of 9.9 million. The question is, in 5 years time, will he be worth more than 9.9 million? And I absolutely think he will be, so I'm going to bring him into the team. And for 9.9 million, we have signed him up on a 5-year contract. And after signing those players, we've only got 2 million euros left to spend, so that's our transfer window done. Which means this is the Villarreal B team going into Season 3. And this time, I will admit, I've got very high hopes for what we can accomplish. Obviously, the midfield is still a little shaky with Carlo Adriano, but I think the rest of the team can carry him for this season if he doesn't improve. Now, last year, this team made the playoffs when I thought for sure we weren't capable of doing that, so this season, you better believe I am expecting the exact same thing. Well, we've come to the end of Season 3, and we've done it, boys. We're 2nd in the league, and we are officially promoted to La Liga Santander. It took us 3 seasons to do it, but that was the plan all along. And we did well in the Copa de España, making it to the round of 16 and getting knocked out by Valencia. I'm really not surprised we've been automatically promoted. Just look at the team, man. It's like an already established La Liga side. And the stats this year are the best they've ever been. 26-3 for Firmino, 19-7 for Lozano, 18-1 for Hassan, and 16-17 for our midfielder Marko Bulak. Step 1 is complete, getting Villarreal out of the 2nd division of Spanish football and into the 1st. But the hard work's about to begin because we've got to now survive the toughest division in Spain. So hopefully this team can continue to improve as they have, and the budget gets massively improved next year as well. So we're now entering Season 4 and entering our 1st season in La Liga Santander. But obviously now it's my job to keep us in this league. And taking a quick peek at the team, there's just a couple of areas we need to improve to make that happen. Firstly, we need a better midfielder than Carlo Adriano. He's 72 overall. He's not good enough to keep us in La Liga this year. And on top of that, I want to bring in in a centre-back better than Amate too. Once we sort those positions out, I'm not saying we're going to survive, but we'll definitely have a much better chance of surviving. And the board certainly haven't let us down with the budget. 38 million euros to spend in our first season in La Liga. And starting with the midfield, I'm bringing in Pablo Martinez from Levante. He's 27 years old, 76 overall. He'll definitely do the job for at least 2 or 3 seasons. And for only 7 million euros, we have signed him up on a 4-year contract. And after that transfer, we still have 29 million euros to spend. And with the midfield sorted, I think we definitely blow all of that money on a really good centre-back. And I've found the perfect centre-back to blow that money on, Alejandro Francis. He's 22 years old, 78 overall. He'll massively improve our defensive lineup. And he is by a mile our most expensive signing, as we've just spent 25.5 million to bring him to Villarreal B on a 4-year contract. And with that, our transfer window's done, and this is the Villarreal B team going into our first season in La Liga Santander. In looking at this team, I'll be real, it already looks like an established La Liga Santander team. Obviously, there are still areas in the team we need to improve, but we got a lot of time to do that. And as for this season, realistically, all I want to do is survive the league. Not only would it be an insane achievement for a newly promoted team, it would mean that we can literally hang with the best of the best and survive. Well, we've reached the end of the season, and we've done very well. We're 12th in the league after 38 games. And as you can see, we're only 6 places behind the proper Villarreal, so we're not actually far off them already. But we only made it to round 32 of the Copa de España this time, losing to Real Sociedad. This team just gets better and better every single season, man. I'm actually loving this Villarreal B team. And the stats are surprisingly quite good. 14-4 for Hassan, 13-4 for Lozano, and 10-2 for Marco Bulat. Marco Bulat actually got more goals than our striker. I'm genuinely considering converting him to a central attacking midfielder. But for the first season in the big leagues, we've not just survived, we've thrived, we've really held our own. But 12th place is now the benchmark. We cannot afford to get any lower than that. If we do, that means we haven't improved, we've just gone backwards. We are now into season 5 with Villarreal B, and now if we want to creep up the table, there's a couple of areas of this team we need to improve. I think we need a new keeper. Alvarez has been amazing for us, but now is the time for him to step aside and make way for a better goalkeeper. On top of that, we need a better centre-back than De La Fuente. Just like Alvarez, he's been insane from the start to right now, but he needs to make way for a better centre-back too. And the board just keep improving our budget every single season. 40 million euros to spend this year. And starting with the goalkeeper, I'm pulling a Nottingham Forest for this one. Keon Casteels, he's 34 years old, granted, but he's 85 overall, and we'll get at least 2 or 3 seasons out of him. And for only 7 million euros, we've got an absolute game changer in Casteels for another 3 years. And that now leaves us with 31 million euros to spend on a defender, and I know just the player to bring in. I'm going for Spanish international Edgar. He's 29 years old, currently playing for Arsenal, so we just got to save him from that club. And for 27 million on the dot, we have signed Edgar on a 3-year deal. And after that transfer, we've only got 324 euros to spend, so that's our transfer window done. Which means this is the team going into our second season in La Liga Santander. It's quite literally just our fullbacks and midfield that just need to improve a little bit more, and this team will genuinely be a force to be reckoned with in a couple of seasons. But for this year, as long as we get a better finish than we did last season, I'll be pretty happy with that. And once again, we've arrived in June, and we're 11th in the league at the end of this season. I mean, we have creeped up the table by 1 position at least, but I was expecting maybe 10th or even 9th in the league. But that ain't the best bit. Villarreal actually won the league outright, so we've definitely got some catching up to do. Having said that, boys, a couple of really good signings next year. We may potentially be looking at Europe. But there was only one player carrying us this season. That was Lozano with 17 goals and 3 assists. Everyone else had a day off. The positive thing is we have at least progressed a little bit by finishing 1 place above where we finished last season. But next year, I definitely want to finish inside the top 8. I feel like with the team how it's progressing right now, that's where it needs to be. Now, we're starting season 6 by converting Marco Bulat to a central attacking midfielder because he's consistently been one of our top goal scorers. So we're going to do this, and he's going to be an 83 overall player. That is actually a game changer. So with Bulat's position change, we've gone for a 4-3-3 attacking variation. It literally just makes the most sense to do this. But now, of course, we have to figure out where we need to improve the team. And obviously, I'm going to focus on the midfield, especially Martinez. He just isn't good enough anymore. And on top of that, I'm in 2 minds whether to bring in a better midfielder for morale or just to bring in a better fullback in for either Carmona or Tasende. But either way, our budget has massively improved again. 59 million to spend in Season 6. But starting with the midfielder, I'm going for Ogbonlahor's favourite player, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. He's 28 years old and 81 overall. He might be a bit of a mean player, but he'll definitely improve our midfield. And for just under 30 million euros, we've signed Dewsbury-Hall on a 3-year deal. And with the signing of Dewsbury-Hall, our midfield has massively improved. And we still have 26 million euros to spend. Now it's just a question of do I bring in a fullback or another midfielder? And to answer your question, I've gone for a brand new midfielder and Billy Gilmore from Brighton. He's 26 years old and 80 overall. He will literally complete our improvement in the midfield. And because he only had 12 months left on his contract, we got him for a measly 20 million euros on a 4-year contract. And with that, our transfer window's done, and this is the Villarreal B team going into this season. And I'm not going to lie, I'm really happy with how this team's looking. I think by the end of this season, every single player in this team will be over 80 overall. And with that being said, I can see this squad getting a top 8 finish. I realistically can't see us doing any worse than that. Well, we've reached the end of yet another season, and this has been the best one yet. We're 3rd in the league at the end of this season, and we are officially in the Champions League. And not only that, we finished higher than Villarreal. We're officially the better team. But we couldn't get past Osasuna in the round of 32 in the Copa de España. Go figure. And I called it down to the letter. Every player in this team is 80 overall or above now. But looking at these stats, everybody got in on the action. 16-4 for Hassan, 9-9 for Dewsbury-Hall, 9-2 for Marco Bulat, 9-1 for Nino, 9-2 for Lozano as well. It's been by a mile our best season yet. 3rd in the La Liga Santander and only our 3rd season in it. That's pretty damn good going. But here comes the real challenge now, the Champions League, and we've got to do our absolute best to prepare for that competition next year. I'm going to start season 7 by showing you our budget, 159 million this year. Considering this is the reserve team for Villarreal, the board have been amazing. Now having 150 plus million gives us a lot of freedom to basically buy whoever we want. But looking at the team, it's obvious where we need to put that money first. We do need better fullbacks now. Tesende and Carmona have been incredible for us, but if we're serious about competing in the Champions League this year, we do need to improve that position. And we need to think about a new keeper because Castiles is now 36 years old and his overall will start to dwindle now. And if we have any money left over once we sorted those positions out, we'll revisit the team and see where we can further improve it. And starting with the fullback, I'm going for English right back Ethan Laird, who currently plays for Rayo Vallecano, who's 26 years old and 83 overall. But Rayo Vallecano were not willing to let him go easily, as we've just had to spend 47.8 million to bring him to Villarreal B. And for the other fullback, I'm going for left back Hugo Bueno from Barcelona, 25 years old and 82 overall. And for 35.7 million, we have signed Hugo Bueno on a 3-year contract. And even after spending big on those two signings, we've still got 67 million euros to spend. And that money is obviously going to go on a brand new goalkeeper. But for this amount of money, I don't want to just get any old goalkeeper. I want to really make a statement with the goalkeeper we get. And boys, believe me, teams are about to take us seriously. Mike Maignan from AC Milan, 32 years old, 89 overall, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And for how good he is, we really got a bargain for him, only having to spend 50 million euros on the dot for him. And with that, our transfer window's done, and this is the team that's going to go into this season. And I genuinely could not be happy with how this team looks, man. It's come on so much since season 1. And not only are we competing for La Liga this year, we're also in the Champions League at long last. And we are in Group A of the Champions League alongside Bayern Munich, RB Salzburg and Legia Warsaw. Now Bayern Munich are probably the favourites to top the group, but I definitely want to finish second at least and make it to the round of 16. Well, we've just arrived in January and we are 4th in the league halfway through the season, and we are 2 spots above Villarreal. And we've somehow topped Group A and we are through to the round of 16. And so far the stats are very good. 13-3 for Hassan, 11-2 for Lozano and 7-2 for Marco Bulat. Now here's my issue. Firmino is 84 overall, granted, but he's not exactly doing well when it comes to goals. For God's sake, our wingers and central attacking midfielder are scoring more than him. I'll give him till the rest of the year, and if he doesn't outperform the rest of those players in them positions, next year I might have to think of selling him. But I already did everything I wanted to do in the September transfer window, so this is the squad that's going to go into the knockouts. And obviously there's a couple of areas that do need improving, like the centre back and our centre midfielder, but you never know what could happen. If we get really lucky on who we get put up against, we may even reach the final this year. And up first in the round of 16 is Italian giant Juve, and off the first glance of looking at their team, they've definitely got the better squad out the two. But it doesn't matter who's the better team, it's who performs better on the day. So let's get straight into this and hope that we can... Ooh, okay. Okay, that's not bad at all. We go to the second leg. It's 2-2 going into the second leg, all tied up. Are we going to crash out, or are we actually going to knock out the Italian Giants? And we do. Edgar in the 59th, you absolute legend. We're going to the quarters. And next up in the knockout is my bogey team, Bayer Leverkusen. I swear to God, if they knock us out here, I ain't going to be happy. Do not... On my life, if they knock us out, I'm going to break something. We're only 2-1 down. We could very easily recover from this. I beg, don't let us go. Hey! Have that, Bayer Leverkusen. And in the semi-finals, you ain't gonna believe this. Leicester City recently relegated Leicester City. I mean, that team is actually pretty damn good. Their recruitment has been world-class since their relegation, but, I mean, it's Leicester City, for God's sake. We've got to get past them, man. Villarreal... Oh, no, don't do this to me. We're so close. I am not going to get knocked out by friggin' Leicester City of all teams. We recovered from a 2-1 deficit against Bayer Leverkusen, who've got a better team than Leicester. Surely to God we aren't going out here. Oh my God, I can't believe Leicester City have knocked us out. Boys, Leicester City are in a Champions League final. What is going on? I can't believe it. We got so close to the final to get knocked out by Leicester City of all teams. I just hope we've done well in the league, because otherwise I really am not going to be happy about this. Well, we've come to the end of the season and we've managed to get top 4 football. Whether or not that gets us European football or not is a different story, but all I know is we finished higher than Villarreal once again. And we have finally won the Copa de España, beating Real Sociedad 3-0 in the final. But looking at this team, I know exactly where we need to improve it next year if we want to get to the final of the Champions League. And the stats this year are bloody amazing. 27-6 for Hassan, 22-8 for Lozano, 16-4 for Bulat, and 15-5 for Firmino. We got top 4 football, we won the Copa de España, and we made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. All in all, I would say that's a pretty good season. Even though we had a relatively easy run in the Champions League, only to get knocked out by bleeding Leicester City. But that doesn't matter. We got to brush this aside, move on to Season 8, and improve the team to the point where we can get to the Champions League final. Now, we're starting Season 8 a little unorthodox with putting Firmino on the transfer list. He's 85 overall, granted, but he's not getting the goals that a striker of his quality should be getting. He's got a market value of 70.5 million, so we're definitely going to put that money to good use on top of our current budget to bring in a replacement striker. And it only took 5 days to get a transfer offer from Fiorentina for 90.3 million, but I'm going to be a bit greedy and try and get a little bit more. Now, he has been with us since Season 1, and for that reason, I want about 105 million for him. They have offered us 94.7 million. I want a little bit more than that. Okay, maybe not 105. What about 100 million on the dot? 98.6. Do you know what? I'll definitely accept 98.6 million. And there he is, 8-season loyalty to Villarreal B, and he's finally packing his bags and going to Fiorentina. And with that sale of Firmino, we have got 281 million euros to spend. So you better believe we're going to have some fun with that money. Now, looking at the team, these 3 positions we definitely need to focus on. We need a better centre-back than Francis and a better midfielder than Billy Gilmore. Once again, they've been amazing players for us, but if we want to get to that final, we definitely need more quality in those positions. And of course, we need a better striker because we've just sold Firmino. But something tells me we're not going to have any issues bringing in players for these positions. And starting with the midfielder role, I'm going for Brentford's Charlie Patino, who's 25 years old, 85 overall already. And for a grand total of 58.7 million, we have signed Patino on a 4-year contract. And for our centre-back role, I'm going for French international Wesley Fofana, who's 28 years old and 86 overall as well. And Wesley Fofana is officially our most expensive signing yet, as we've just spent 90.5 million to bring him to Villarreal B. And finally, for our striker, who I know for a fact is a goal machine, Swedish international Alexander Isak, 29 years old, 85 overall. Nobody is stopping this man when he's in front of goal. And for a total of 66.4 million, we have signed Alexander Isak on a 4-year contract. And with those signings now, there are no weaknesses in that starting 11. But we've still got 53 million euros to spend, and I'd be a fool not to use it. But obviously we sorted out the starting 11, so I'm going to focus my attention on the subs bench. Primarily focusing on bringing in a better striker, a better winger, and a better goalkeeper now that Keon Casteels is retired. So I started by bringing in Dutch striker Thijs Dellinger for 47 million, Norwegian centre midfielder Christos Safiris on a free, Swiss goalkeeper Stefan Forster on a free. And finally, Spanish winger Angel Alarcon on a free as well. And with that, the team now looks like this heading into Season 8. And the starting 11 looks good. The subs bench is riddled with quality as well. I think we are absolutely ready for everything this season's got to throw at us. And we are once again in the Champions League, this time in Group D alongside Manchester United, Empoli and RFC Serang. And if last year we topped the group with Bayern Munich in it, I think we fly this group this year. And boys, we've just arrived halfway through the season, and wait till you see this table. Real Sociedad are first, Sevilla are second, we're third, and Barcelona are fourth. What alternate reality are we actually playing FIFA in right now? What is going on? But the good news is we've once again topped the group stage and we're cruising to the round of 16. And the stats are once again looking pretty good. 17-8 for Lozano, 15-2 for Hassan, and 10-2 for our new striker, Isak. And I did everything I wanted to do in September, so this is the team that's going to go into the knockouts for the second season running. And boys, I ain't going to lie to you, I'm very confident what this team can achieve this year. If we made it to the semi-finals last year with a much weaker team than this, then surely we've got to go all the way this time. And after just beating Monaco in the round of 16 and annihilating Roma in the quarters, we are once again in the semi-final. And in the semi-finals, we face German giants Borussia Dortmund, and their team's kind of weird when you look at it. The strikers and midfield is actually really good, but the defense is absolutely shocking. I think we've got a good chance against them. The boys have got to prove me right though on the pitch. It's a 1-1 draw in the first leg. It goes to the second. This time last year, we bottled it against Leicester City of all teams. Are we about to do the same here, or are we about to book our place in that fan? Oh, we've absolutely slapped him in the second leg. Lozano and Patino, boys, we have finally made it to the final. And in that Champions League final, we face off against Arsenal. We cannot lose this game. But meanwhile in the league, we've once again finished inside the top four. We just can't quite seem to catch Sevilla or Barcelona, can we? We also made it to the Super Copa final where we lost 5-4 on penalties to Barcelona. We really can't catch a break against them, can we? But we've gone back to back, winning the Copa de España, beating UD Almeria 3-2 in the final this time. And the stats this year are bloody amazing. 29-16 for Lozano, 28-10 for Hassan, 22-6 for Alexander Isak, and 16-12 for our Cam Marco Bulat. Just look at this team, man. We have done an absolute job with Villarreal B. Well, we can't really call them that anymore, can we? We keep on beating their counterpart Villarreal. And let's be real, some of the players in this team have been insane. The likes of Marco Bulat, 88 rated. Lozano, 90 rated. And of course, Hassan, 92 rated. I mean, the rest of the team has been amazing, but those three in particular have really stood out to me. And I'm not going to play this game. I'm going to watch these boys easily sweep Arsenal aside and become the best team in the world. Lozano's on the ball. He's found Isak. Isak. Oh my. There ain't no way. You've just literally given it to freaking Arsenal. Bueno's on the ball. Cross it in. Isak, head on that, lad.
Nope.
Head on that. Oh, Ramsdale. You do my head and you do. Why is it so difficult to score past Ramsdale? Bulat's on the ball and he's just decided to, you know what, instead of actually passing it around, I'll run into the defender. Lozano's on the ball now. Push forward. There we go. There we go. Maybe have a pop. Or pass it inside. I hate watching the AI sometimes. They make the dumbest decisions. All you had to do was square it, and that is 1-0. Oh my God. Lozano, what are you going to do from here, though? You've run it out. Fucking amazing, lad. Absolutely insane. How didn't I think of that? This is making me never want to watch one of these again. It's one thing being the worst side out of the two. I don't mind that. But when they're doing shit like that, that's what pisses me off. I swear, we better perform better in the second half. Otherwise, I'm making some changes. Bulat's on the ball. Okay. He's had a... Well, that shut me up. That's Dewsbury Hall. There ain't no way Dewsbury Hall's scoring a goal like that. Okay, Isak turn. Maybe not. What's going on? Please hit it. Oh my God, we're 2-0 up. Bulat in the penalty area, 67 minutes in. Boys, we've basically got one hand on this trophy now. 2 goals in 20 minutes. We just need to not make any silly mistakes. Boys, we've got just over 5 minutes to go and Arsenal are not showing any sign to scoring. If anything, we've got more sign to score. Why would you take a touch like that, you absolute fruitcake? Boys, we've done it. Villarreal B 2, Arsenal 0. We have made Villarreal B not only better than Villarreal, but the best team in the world. It's taken us 8 goddamn seasons to do it, but in the end, we bloody did it. And if you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely click right here to watch me rebuild Reading with only 3 agents.